What's up with your butt up? Hey besties, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to your favorite story time, where we get a little messy and I get you out of your reality for just a little bit to relax and unwind. So I hope you guys are ready with your wine, your snacks, you know, a little to-do, maybe like a chore around the house. Just put me up on a counter, girl, and I'll keep you entertained for like, you know, sometimes I do up to an hour, but we'll see today. You already know what to do with the like button and the subscribe button if you would like to see more of my crazy ass. But without further ado, let's get into the story time. This was the first time that I really realized that my mom be peeping shit that I don't peep, you know what I mean? And like, there's always this defining moment, this one moment in your life where you genuinely see, like, and it's usually your mom. It could be your dad too. I wouldn't know nothing about that. But it's usually the mama. She usually has like a intuition, and she always knows when somebody's not good for their baby, okay? And now I'm gonna be honest with you, I already know that this is going to be like a few different parts just because a few different things happen with this girl, and I want to be able to give each story, each incident, its own moment. So this is the first one. So welcome to the circus, bitch. Buckle in. And let's take this off. That's gonna bug me. Once upon a time, not long ago, I was a freshman in high school, and I was freshly here to Colorado. Most of y'all know that I came here when I was in 8th grade. And you know, that first year here, fighting a pregnant girl, like almost getting jumped in bathrooms and at parks and stuff. Like, it really was rough. Needless to say, I was a little bit jaded by the time I was, you know, going into my freshman year in high school. And so by this point in time, you know, shocker, my mom and I moved across town for a brand new beginning, right? And it's crazy to say now because like my son is 14. He's gonna be 14 this month. And like, I was his age when this shit happened, okay? So here we are, you know, little baby teenage Nikki is going into high school, and like every other, you know, new freshman, I was nervous as shit. So we move across town, and we actually move near the person that helped us come to Colorado in the first place, and he was a really good friend of my mom's. He like was family friends with my family, and we had gone back like years, right? So he just so happened to live in Colorado. Anyways, he was the one that used to like show us the lay of the land, and like we'd go and hang out with his family, you know, yada yada. So anyways, girl, he's the one that helped us get into, it was like a triplex. It was a damn triplex for real. So he helped us get into there because he knew the landlord really well. So he talked to the landlord, and then, you know, got the hookup or whatever. And my mom applied for the place. We got the place. Cool. So he lived on one end, and then we had our neighbor in the middle, and then we were on the other end. So it was in a cute neighborhood, and the school apparently wasn't too bad, like the nearby high school. So my mom, you know, genuinely moved over there so that I could, you know, go to this pretty good high school. My mom's friend who had been living there, he was like, oh, my neighbor has a daughter that's like your age. She's going to be going to the same high school. Like, y'all should, you know, meet up or whatever. And I was like, oh, crazy, right? So I was still kind of shy at this point. So he had to like set up the meeting, and like that was his homie. Like her dad was like his homie. Anyways, girl, we end up meeting, okay? And we are going to name her. We're gonna call her Elena, okay? So Elena was like our neighbor because it was like a cul-de-sac, right? And our triplex was on one street, and then at the end of the cul-de-sac, that was her dad's house. And like, it was like she lived in the full spot, beach. Like, she did not live in no duplex triplex. Like, she was in a whole ass house, right? Which I was very envious of. Nah, I'm just playing. But anyways, he, you know, facilitated the meeting. So she started coming around, and we were, you know, kind of chill in the front yard, you know, just kind of talk. And, you know, it was very little to start out with. And then as the time went on, you know, we started getting to know each other better, and like walking down to the corner store together. And, you know, we spent part of our summer together before my freshman year started. Fast forward, and by the time, you know, the beginning of the year came around, you know, she and I knew each other really well. And she was 2 years older than me. So she was like a junior at this point. So in a way, I looked up to her just based off that, just because she was older than me. So as we start getting closer to the beginning of the year, she starts, of course, giving me all the tea, you know, like about the school and like the teachers and, you know, all that shit that's importante, right? You know, so we start making plans, and she was like, I'll drive you to school, because, you know, she had a car. And I was like, oh, dude, like that would be great, because, you know, my ass was always on the fucking bus. Well, girl, it's somewhere in the interim, my mom ends up meeting Elena. And you know, my mom was nice, but I could tell that my mom was kind of like looking at her sideways and was just not being mean to her. She was like very observant of her. And then, you know, Elena goes home, and shortly thereafter, my mom just very, very simply, like it wasn't a conversation, but she just, there's something up with that one. And I was like, what? what you mean? And she was like, And my mom looked me dead in the face and she was like, you just watch out for her, okay? Okay. You know, like, girl, I really thought that my mom just did not want me to have no friends on God's green earth, because she would always look at my friends sideways and be like, what's your motive, you know? But I didn't know it's because my mom is a fucking queen and knows, you know, that girls can be kind of trifling sometimes. And like, I just was not wise enough to know at that point. But it was at that moment that my mom started peeping something a little bit sideways with Miss Elena. Fast forward, and I go to freshman orientation, and obviously Elena's not there because she's not a freshman, so I'm going in there by myself. I'm nervous, I'm quiet. This is a whole different side of town, in a different state, different kids, like everything, girl, and it was a lot. I will say that this school was definitely a different part of town than where I had just come from, you know, like with girls trying to jump me at the park and shit, like very different. So I was just like, you know, trying to process the environment, okay? And then the school year starts and everything's normal. So as promised, Elena was driving me to and from school. And sometimes she wouldn't drive me from, though, like home, because she would leave school early. And she always told me that she had like the last few periods of the day, like every other day, you know, A and B days, she would have every other day, she would get off early. Like 50% of the time I was riding home on the bus, but she would drive me to school every morning, right? Everything was fine. I don't know what it was about this school, y'all, but I could not find my place. And like, this was the first time that this was happening. Like, I had moved before. I'd gone to different schools before. You already fucking know. Like, this shouldn't be an issue, but like, the personalities that I was around, just not jiving, just not meshing. Even when I was really trying to like drive conversation and like pulling out all the stops, girl, like, you know, trying to be a socialist and, you know, just trying to be social and make friends, like it just wasn't sticking. And like, I could not seem to connect really with anybody outside of Elena. They just didn't come from where I came from. Like, they didn't like, girl, I don't know how to explain it. It just, they were just, you could tell very much that I was different. So I genuinely hated like a lot of my classes. I feel like there was like only 2 classes, and thank God, just because I liked my teachers, I didn't mind being there. But for the rest of the day, y'all, I hated it. I hated the girls there. And like, I never had that type of reaction, but like, yeah, I hated it. I hated the girls there. They were so fucking dramatic and so fucking petty. I hated the dudes there. They were all ugg mugs. And like, I did not find any of them attractive until like the very end of my time there. And then finally I have a crush on a guy, and like, ugh. So I end up telling Elena this like after school one day. Elena felt me with that. Now, Elena was Sri Lankan. So she was from Sri Lanka. So she was not from here either. She like ended up with her dad after something happened with her mom. And so she spent her early years in Sri Lanka, and that's where she went to school and all that. So when she moved here, she was talking to me about like how she felt the same way. Like, things were just different. The people were different. The kids were different. Like, everything was different. And she felt like she didn't fit in either. Of course, you know, I start connecting with her and I'm like, you get me, like, you understand me, like, you feel like the odd man out, you know what I mean? And so I started, you know, really latching onto her as far as like just friends and like hanging out after school, before school, like during breaks, because she was right there, dude. We started hanging out all the time. I was at her house all the time. And now keep in mind, the whole time my mom's letting me be friends with her, but she really is like keeping a close eye on what we're doing, where we're going, and just like making sure. And she keeps telling me, watch out for her, watch out for her. Why you keep saying that? So I got defensive with my mom, because I was like, this is the one and only person that I'm actually connecting with, and like, she's my friend, and like, you don't like her? No. So of course, I'm looking at my mom sideways, but my mom is, you know, allowing the friendship to happen, and it's just like, you know, all I'm saying is keep an eye on her. That's it. I'm gonna mind my business. Okay. She knew part of my schedule, because, you know, she would take me to school in the morning, and, you know, we knew which classes we were going to. And she was like, what's your second period class? And I was like, oh, it's gym. She was like, oh, perfect. So you can come with me. And I was like, come with you where? She was like, okay, so just hear me out. She was like, look, okay, we go to school, we, you know, get through first period. She was like, I know that that's like a core class for you. She's like, then for second period, we're just going to take off. And she's like, because I need to go get my stuff from my boyfriend's house. I was like, what do you mean take off? And she was like, girl, she was like, you know, just take off. She was like, you know, he lives right down the street. And I was like, but what about gym? She's like, your PE teacher's not going to notice. And even if they do, like, they straight up don't even call parents if you're missing gym. Like, they don't care at all. And I was like, shut up. But she was like, I swear. You know, I'm like going back and forth with her, and I was like, my mom will kill me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to risk it. And she was like, dude, I swear. I'm like, wait. Why do you need help to go get your stuff from your boyfriend's house? I was like, hold up. Because, you know, I knew she had a boyfriend, but like, I knew nothing about this situation. And so, you know, she keeps it kind of vague. And she was like, look, you know, I used to kind of sort of live with him because, you know, my dad and I would kind of get into it every now and then. So, you know, we've been together for, you know, 2 years at this point. He was like 16 and he was like 19 years old. So, you know, an adult, you know what I mean? Anyways, apparently, you know, she had been like semi-living with him. She had, you know, brought a lot of her stuff over there. They got into a huge fight. He's not good for her. He's toxic. She moved back home and she still has a lot of her shit over there. And she was like, you know, a lot of my really important stuff is over there, like, you know, stuff that I've had for years, stuff from my childhood, and like it's all there. She was like, I still have the key and everything, I just don't want to go when he's there. She was like, while we're at school, he's working. And she was like, so I know that he's not going to be home, so I have to do it, you know, during school hours. Like, I don't know, like, I don't feel safe doing that. She was like, look, he's not going to be there, like, he lives with his parents. So, you know, she starts telling me all of this. You know, I feel bad for her, y'all, because she was telling me that he was like abusive and he was mean to her and like she had to leave and she just wants her shit back. And she was like, it's, you know, kind of a lot. She was like, if I had to guess, it would take like 2-3 trips like back and forth to get all my stuff, you know? And I was like, she was like, please, can you help me? I need an extra set of hands so it goes by fast. Y'all, I made the stupid decision. And I say stupid because I didn't know this man. I didn't know what he was capable of. And I was so young. And I had good intentions to like help my friend, but I really could have gotten hurt in this situation, you know, had he been violent. So girl, I went through with it, y'all. I really fucking risked my ass and fucking next day I skip gym class and I meet her in the front of the school and we take off in her car and my heart is just beating a million miles a minute. I had never done anything like this. I'd never skipped class. Never. And so I was just like the whole time I was like, bitch, you are going to die. Like your mom is going to kill you, you know? So sure enough though, he did live right down the street. So like literally within 2 minutes in front of this house. And she like, so she hops out the car and she was like, hold on, I'm gonna go make sure he's not here. And then like, I'll come get you. And I was like, all right, cool. So she goes in the house. She stays in there for a few minutes. She comes back out and she was like, okay, everything's all clear. Like the house is empty. She was like, my shit's still in there. She was like, I'm gonna pack everything up. So I get out of the car and like, I'm nervous. I don't want to go inside this person's house. Like I'm scared, you know? And thank God, she was like, dude, don't even come inside. She was like, you know, I don't want shit to happen to you. She was like, just stand right here. And like right in front of the house on the ground, there was like a window well to the basement. And I guess her and her man used to stay down there. She was like, stand right there by that window and I'm gonna be like giving you shit from the window. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, and then you just take it, run it to the car. And I was like, oh, smart. Okay, cool. So I didn't have to go inside his house or nothing. I was just going to be standing right there and grabbing her shit. So she goes inside, she goes down to the basement. I hear her packing shit up and everything. And I'm just waiting there at the top of the well. And she opens up the window. She starts handing me like duffel bags and blankets, pillows, like, you know, all kinds of shit, right? So I'm like stuffing up my arms. I'm running back to her car, stuffing it in the back seat, running back, right? So, you know, by the second time, I'm like, how much do you have left? Y'all, I'm so nervous. Like I keep looking over my shoulder. I don't know this man. I don't know where I'm at. Like I don't know. I'm skipping school, bitch. Like what the fit? You know, just a little bit more. Like we're almost done. I was like, all right, like hurry up. So she's handing me shit and I'm going back and forth. Y'all, I go back over to the window and I'm standing there and I straight up, y'all, I fucking hear skirt. Hey, y'all, I about peed myself. I like literally turned around, my knees buckled. I was like, ah. I just see this beat up like Acura. It's like, you know, like primered and shit. And it just like one of the headlights was out and shit, girl. I was very much struggle. And this skinny ass dude with like this rocker band t-shirt gets out of the driver's seat and he was like, hey, who are you? And I was like, I was just so shocked and so panicked. Like I could not get any words out. And I was like, I hear Elena from the window. She was like, she's with me, motherfucker. Elena, what are you doing in my fucking house? And she was like, I'm getting my shit. She's like, Nikki, get in the car. I'll meet you in the car. And I was like, all right, like you ain't got to tell me twice. And so I turn around and I'm literally like jogging. I'm not full on running because like I don't want to like, you know, make him think that I'm going to be like doing anything. I don't want to startle him. So I'm like jogging. And I'm just like, you know, just very fast paced walking and just like keep an eye on him out of the corner of my eye. I get to her car, I get inside, I shut the door and I'm just watching from the window. And I see him literally charge charge through the front door, bitch. And I am like, y'all, I pull out my cell phone. I am so ready to call 911. And I'm like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like, well, he seemed so pissed, like da-da-da. Y'all, I have my phone out and I am ready. And I'm looking out the window and I'm like, if I don't see or hear from her in the next 30 seconds, as soon as he goes inside of the front door, and all of a sudden I see fucking bags. And they're like grocery bags that are filled with like clothes and shit, and I just see bags being thrown up the well, and here comes fucking Elena. She's like hopping out of the well, grabbing the bags, and like fucking just hauling ass to the car, and I'm like, bitch, run! So while he's going downstairs, she's coming out the well, bitch. She got in the car, she throws the bags into the back, and we just take off. Y'all, I had never had an adrenaline rush like that before in my life. Like, it was crazy. It was like one of those things in the movie, like when you get away with something and like as soon as you're safe, you just start busting out laughing. So we are just like dying. She's like, bitch, did you see his face? And I was like, 14, okay? And I was just like, I had never experienced anything like this before in my life. So after that, to like thank me, she went to a gas station and we got a bunch of snacks and shit like that. And then I went back to school for third period and onward, you know, and the rest of the day was regular. But like, I came back to school in such a good mood because I had, even though it was scary, bitch, it was fun. It was fun to be out there. It was fun to like, you know, just like, I had never done anything like that. And I was like, bitch, wow. Of course, like any other teenager, when I kind of got the taste of like, quote, freedom, whenever you skip class and you're not having to be in school all day and you can just go do whatever you want. I had that one experience and that adrenaline rush and like all that I just wanted to do that every single day. I could not stand the kids in there. I just couldn't, girl. I just could not. It was literally my least favorite class. And so I was like, fuck it. So what was once supposed to be like a one-time thing started becoming an everyday occurrence where I was skipping gym class. Sure enough, like Elena said, they did not get a hold of my mom for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And they finally called my mom and was like, hey, she has X amount of days that she has missing in gym class only. And so I get caught. My mom comes home. She's pissed. Where the fuck are you going during second period? Like, you haven't been going to class. I know it. Like, da-da-da. Like, you've been skipping class. My mom was able to put two and two together, girl. Like, my mom is very smart. She's an investigator. And somehow she figured out that I had been hanging out with Elena. And my mom was like, I bet you money that if I contact that school, or if I get a hold of her dad to contact that school, that we're going to find out that she's not at school for second period either. Elena did have a class that period that she was always skipping with me too. Like, we were both skipping at the same time. So like, and my mom would have, like, my mom had no shame. She had no problem going over there and talking to her dad. And I was like, no. So, you know, the truth came out and I was like, yeah, mom, you know, like, I don't like my gym class. I don't like the kids, like, da-da-da. So I start telling her everything. And she was like, I don't care. Like, that is school. You need to stay your ass there. Like, you cannot just be leaving school grounds. I don't know where you're going. Like, hell no. Like, she was pissed, right? Y'all, I got my ass tore up. And of course, boom, y'all not allowed to be friends no more. I don't want you hanging out with her. I don't want you around her. I don't want you, you know, nothing, right? And my mom was pissed because my mom was like, she is older than you. She's supposed to be a good influence on you. She's supposed to be guiding you and helping you. And like, she's not. She's like telling you to skip school. Like, she's not a good influence. I don't want her around you. So bam, we're not supposed to be talking no more. All of a sudden, I'm riding the bus to and from school every day. And my mom was keeping a very close eye on my attendance for all of my classes, right? And she held strong that she didn't want me to be friends with Elena. You know, sure enough, Elena and I, we can't hang out, we can't text, we can't call each other, we can't do nothing because of, you know, the whole skipping class situation. So, you know, we kind of grew apart a little bit. You know, we hung out at school, we could talk when we could, but like not nearly as much as we used to. Fast forward some time, she and I aren't hanging out as much anymore, and my mom gets a new job and she's getting better pay. So she starts telling me that we're gonna move again. And I was like looking at her sideways like, wait, what? And she was like, no. She was like, you're gonna keep going to the same school. She was like, but, you know, we're going to get a bigger place. And I was like, oh, for real? So, you know, I get real excited. And sure enough, somehow, some way, my mom was able to rent a house. So, like, here's the main street. And on this side was, like, the cul-de-sac that we lived in. That's where our triplex was, and that's where Elena lived. Well, on the other side of that main street was, you know, another row of houses. Not duplexes, not townhouses, houses, okay? And so You know, they're smaller 2-3 bedroom houses, and my mom ended up renting one of those houses, and it was a 2-bedroom 1 bath. But it had a really big yard for my dog, Handsome. You know, it was bigger than where we were living in at the time. Literally within like the next month or so, we're moving into this new house, and I was so excited. Like, the backyard, girl, did it for me. Okay, I loved having a backyard. I also think that my mom was pretty happy about me moving away in proximity to Elena, because like she did not want me around her at all. Things kind of started calming down, and you know, I started kind of enjoying going to school. I started making other friends, and that's when I developed a crush at school, and everything was kind of leveling out. I don't know how much time passed, but I remember asking my mom if I could, like, you know, go to the movies with Elena, or just like go to her house and chill, and my mom was still very heavy. She was like, no. There was something that happened with Elena that her friend, the one that like lived right there by Elena and like knew her dad, and they were really good friends, he told my mom that Elena had just gotten in trouble, like, legally. No, for what? I didn't know what happened, but I just remember my mom coming home and she was like, now for real, like, I don't want you around her. Like, she is bad news. It was something with her ex-boyfriend. They had been involved in something bad. My mom got whiff of it, and she was like, see, I knew it. Like, hell no, I don't want y'all hanging out at all. Like, at school, nothing. I don't want to hear that y'all around each other. Like, no, right? It's like a hard, absolutely fucking not. Don't be talking to her. All bets are off. Like, there's no chance of like trying to be friends with her besides, you know, a few highs and goodbyes at school. I was not about to just take that laying down. I was just too stubborn, and I was like, look, I'm gonna be friends with whoever I want to be friends with. Like, I felt pissed, and I was just like, you know, y'all don't know her situation, and very much teenager, right? And so I get pissed, and I'm like, who are you to tell me who I could be friends with? Like, what you mean? Like, these are my friends. Like, just because she has that going on doesn't mean that I'm gonna have that going on. And like, you know, me and my mom were not seeing eye to eye with that, but I knew in the back of my mind, you're tripping if you think that I'm never gonna talk to her again, because like, I'm definitely going to talk to her again. Of course, every day that I was at school, my mom would get home after me. Like, obviously, like, I would get out of school like 3:30 or something like that, but she would not get home from work until almost 6. Okay, so I had like a good chunk of time that I was at the house by myself. You know, I'd get home on the bus, chill at the house, and she'd be home in like 2-3 hours. I was a pro at getting homework done on the bus. Like, I'm not here to play no games or waste no time. Okay, by the time I get home, I don't want to hear nothing about school. So I always got my shit done on the bus. So by the time I would get home, I would get really, really bored, you know, watching the same movies, you know, the same shit over and over. And you know what? The whole time I have like one of my best friends that literally lives right down the street. Okay, so I had her number. I had a phone at the time, whatever. I text her, what you doing? And, you know, we start texting back and forth. I'm just deleting everything as I go. And somehow, some way, we decided, let's just, you know, chill for a little while. And so we started meeting up, and I wouldn't go all the way to her house because I'm not dumb, okay? Like, I have to know when my mom is going to get home. So I would not go into her house. I had to keep an eye on everything that was happening around me. So we would legitimately chill in the street of the cul-de-sac because, you know, hardly anybody came down there, and we would just chill there, catch up, you know, be on our phones together, you know, just like whatever, hang out. And I would keep an eye on the main street to make sure that my mom wasn't coming. But honestly, I never cut it that close. Like, I always gave myself like almost an hour before she got home to get home, you know, just to make sure that no lines were crossed, you know what I'm saying? So I start doing this, you know, not on a consistent basis, but a more frequent basis, okay? Like, a few times a week, I would go over there and chill with her and then come back home, and my mom wouldn't be the wisest. So I get used to this. Now, of course, all good things gotta come to an end, girl. And like my mom always says, everything that is done in the dark will always come to the light. Bitch, hold on, okay? One day comes around, and I see Elena in the hallway, like before the end of the day, and she starts telling me like something about her car, and she was like, you know, I'm getting some upgrade on her car, and she was like, I'm getting my car back tomorrow. Like, she was like, you should come see it. And I was like, dude, I would love to, right? I was always super into sports cars because my brother used to have me at races and shit as a little girl. So we make these plans. Fast forward, the next day comes around, I ride the bus home because she was gonna go get her car. car. So I get home, you know, I get everything done. I change out of my school clothes. I put on something light, something comfortable. And she was like, I got my baby back. Like, come on, come see her. Can't wait to show you. And I was like, oh shit. So I get up, I'm all excited. I'm about to go see my friend's new whip or whatever. So I slip on my chanclas and I head out the door. So I walk down the street, walk across the main street, go to the cul-de-sac, and she's sitting there with her car right there in the driveway. And so, you know, she's showing me these new LED headlights, and, you know, just kind of showing me how things work. She got like a new system in her car and, you know, everything like that. So end up chilling inside of her car, and her car is in the driveway of the cul-de-sac, and it's literally facing the main street, right? So I could see my house from where we were sitting. So we end up just chilling in the front of her car, listening to music, going over all of her new shit, and I'm just like having the best time of my life. Now keep in mind, I always, okay, make sure that I give myself enough time to get home. So I wasn't even worried about it. I looked down at the clock. I had almost 2 hours left before my mom was gonna be home. So I'm just chilling, girl. Like, ain't no problem in sight. We're talking, hanging out, shooting the shit. I look up for a split second. Why do I see my mama's PT Cruiser coming down the goddamn street? When I tell you, if she finds out that I'm here, I am dead, okay? Like, no questions asked, no question. I cannot express to you how serious my mother was about not being friends with Elena. And here I am at her house, like in her car, and I'm literally looking at the back of my mama's car driving down our street, bitch. When I tell you, my soul left my body and I had to be like, no, bitch, you right here with me. I get out of the car. I don't even say nothing to Elena. And like, when I tell you I am hauling ass, I am hauling ass. Like, I had no time to process. It's like, bitch, run. So I did. So I'm running. Y'all, I'm so scared that she's going to see me out of her rearview mirror. But like, it's either that or I'm not at home when she gets there, and I'm not about to get caught like that. So I'm fucking running, and I'm like trying to stay low so she don't fucking see me. And she's like going down our street. So instead of following after her, bitch, I make a right, and I make a sharp right, okay? And then I make a left down into the alley, and I'm just like fucking running, and I am hauling ass. Y'all, I am hauling ass so fast, my chanclas fly off. And do you think that I went back to get them bitches? No, I have no fucking time. I am literally keeping up with my mom. I can see over the fences in between the houses, and I can see her fucking PT Cruiser, bitch, and I am like, I get to the back of my house, I hop over that fucking fence barefoot, bitch. I run across the yard and I slam into the door, and then I realize the back door is locked. You didn't unlock the back door, bitch. You were stuck out here. I start freaking out. I can hear her unlocking the door, and she's on the phone with one of her friends. So, and my mom is very loud. So I can hear her at the door, and bitch, I had a split second. And y'all, when I tell you, it was by the grace of God, that I looked at the screen door of our back door, and like there was a small little hole in the screen. I don't know how to explain it. It had like one of these right here, like one of these, and like the lock was right here. I don't know how to explain it, bitch, but so I stick my fingers in that hole, and I'm like, boop, and I unlock it. I get through the door, go through the back door. You're immediately in the kitchen, right in front of the stove. Y'all, I burst in there, and then I shut the door ever so quietly, and I'm standing there, and I'm just like, and my mom enters the living room, and she's on the phone, and she looks over at me and she goes, hey, Mija, how was your day? It was good. It was so good. I went to my room. My feet were ate up. They were cut up from all the gravel, the rocks, grass all over them. They were literally bleeding. Okay, like I was seriously like cleaning up my feet in my room. Y'all, when I tell you that was the closest I had ever been to getting caught and not getting caught, like when I tell you by the skin of my teeth, literally, she did not know until just a few days ago when I told her. And now, this far in the future, she was cracking her ass up just with the thought of me fucking running down the alley, like keeping up with her. And like, she was like, you really were just just travesuras. And I was like, yeah, girl, I was trying to see my friend. And even now, my mom remembers Elena, and she was like, you know that she was a bad friend. She was like, you know that she did not have your best interest at heart. And I was like, mommy, I know. I was like, because she really did me dirty. Like, but I had to see it myself. And shortly after this happened, girl, after I almost get my ass whooped by my mother and I make it home by the skin of my teeth, just a little while after this, Elena's funky ass did me so dirty. And like, no coming back. There was no coming back. And I will tell you guys that story next time. I have to give you something to look forward to. Okay, mama? But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for coming to chill with me for story time. You already know what to do with that like button and that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my uploads. Here are my socials if you guys would like some more Nikki in your life. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love y'all so much. And I will see your fine ass in my next video. Peace out, y'all.